After spending thousands of hours optimizing Minecraft storage tech, I'm excited to present Monster Storage for Minecraft 1.21.8 and beyond. Monster Storage is the most performant, reliable, and easy-to-use mega storage system that automatically sorts every single item in Minecraft. I've spent the last 10 years building, rebuilding, optimizing, and perfecting various iterations of Monster Storage so I could eventually make it available to you. That's right. There's a world download link in the description. I'd recommend using Fabric for Java 1.21.8 or above, but you could run Monster Storage without mods in regular vanilla Minecraft. You could even get it running on Bedrock, but it would take some serious modifications. So start a fresh world with your item sorter ready to go, or import Monster Storage into your existing world with a mod like WorldEdit. The world download is ready for whichever path you choose. Now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about the features of Monster Storage and find out what sets it apart from everything else. The first feature is simply performance. I'll dive into this more later, but I designed Monster Storage from the ground up to handle millions of items with minimal lag. Second is organization. Monster Storage categorizes every stackable item into 18 different color-coded categories. Each category has a corresponding hallway or slice within Monster Storage. I've also added 4 extra hallways to the system for any items Minecraft adds in the future. For my fellow data nerds, the description also has a link to a massive spreadsheet showing how every item is categorized and where you can find it in the building. The third feature is functionality. Monster Storage does everything. It's not just a bunch of chests and hoppers. If something can be automated, it is. So what does Monster Storage do? Well, it's a centralized storage system that automatically sorts every item in the game. It can sort and store 1,584 different stackable items with a total storage capacity of 137 million items. It also pre-filters shulker boxes and non-stackable items. The shulker boxes are then emptied automatically and sent to a dedicated storage location right next to the non-stackable items. Every input and transport line is buffered beyond all reasonable expectations to prevent issues when dumping massive quantities of items into the system. If any single item storage silo fills beyond its 25 double chest capacity of 86,400 items, Monster Storage has overflow and loopback protection to prevent the sorting system from breaking and your items from despawning. If you have too much of any single item, you can flip a lever to send the excess to a lava pit and make room for more. Or flip a second lever and start automatically filling shulker boxes with the items you need for your next project. A third lever allows you to send items from any silo to the crafting level, where you can automatically craft items using the new crafter block. On our server, we're using this to automatically convert ingots to blocks, sugarcane to paper, and so much more. With Monster Storage, you can auto-craft as much or as little as you'd like. I have another video coming very soon that will dive deeper into crafter automation, so be sure to subscribe to make sure you see it. Depending on how many chunks you're willing to keep loaded, you could even use the silo drains to automate your villager trading hall for extreme emerald trading. If you have a lot of automatic farms, they can all be piped into the system via transportation lines for even more automation. Our server uses this for iron, trees, sugarcane crops, wool, flowers, redstone, gunpowder, and many, many more items. Why? Well, because we can. The only real limitation is the power of your computer or server. You'll need to familiarize yourself with chunk loading in order to do something that extreme. If there's enough interest, I'll do a deep dive into transport lines and chunk loading in a future video. Leave a comment if you'd like to see that. So that's the functionality of Monster Storage. The remainder of this video will explain how everything works. While most of Monster Storage was designed by yours truly, there are certainly existing redstone contraptions that I didn't need to reinvent for this project. I'll credit each Minecraft YouTuber as we walk through the build together and include a link to their videos in the description. Also, the world download includes signs on each contraption in case you want to further understand how they work. After the tour, I'll discuss performance optimizations, including a list of mods that will help you get the best performance out of your storage. Alright, let's go ahead and walk through the build. We'll start here, in the main hallway of Monster Storage. All the chests in the main hallway serve as an ingest chest. Anything you put into these chests will make their way through the system and into the correct place in storage. Whether that's ancient debris, a sword, or a shulker box full of items, these chests will sort anything. Beneath every chest is a double dropper system that I designed specifically to fit the space constraints of the monster storage layout. These use the old alternating torch burnout method, along with comparators to trigger the droppers whenever items are put into the chests in the main hallway. These double droppers spit items out into transportation lines that travel from here all the way to the ingest system down below. I designed the ingest to alternate between two pre-sorters for a 2x hopper speed ingest system. Between these two lines and the excessive buffer chests, it would be very difficult to overfill the system. The bottom two rows of chests fill up first, with any overflow looping up to the top as a failsafe. The pre-sorters were inspired by Mezuma games and slightly modified to work within the monster storage system. If you'd like to learn more about pre-sorting, I'd highly recommend checking out the video linked in the description. The two pre-sorters take the two ingest lines and sort stackables, non-stackables, and shulker boxes into 3 separate transport lines. The stackable items go straight to the sorting system, while the non-stackables are sent to storage on the bottom floor, and the shulker boxes are sent to the Shulker Box Unloaders. The Shulker Box Unloaders are based on a tileable design from Samus the Sage on YouTube. You can find a link to his video in the description. I'll be the first to admit that I massively overbuilt this system. The monster storage design has 4 shulker box unloaders, but if you're just using the main hallway input chests, you'll only end up using a single shulker box unloader. So why did I build 4 unloaders? Well, it's because I'm impatient. When I'm moving millions of items from one iteration to another, I come down here and manually add shulker boxes into each unloader. With manual input, I can toss about 200 shulker boxes full of items into the system without overloading the buffers. It takes about 10 hours for the system to process 200 full shulker boxes, so use caution when you're putting them in manually. If you overfill the system with manual input, you could lose items. Running shulker boxes through the automatic ingest system takes longer, but is much safer. When items leave the shulker box unloaders, they're sent to another layer of pre-sorters below. These pre-sorters will pull empty shulker boxes from the system and send them over here to the shulker box storage area. All other items loop back to ingest in order to buffer the 4x hopper speed output of the shulker box unloaders. From there, all stackable items are sent to the item sorting system via transportation lines. Here, you'll find yet another buffer area to bring everything down to 1x hopper speed. There's a 1x hopper speed dropper at the end of the buffer that finally sends the items into the sorting system. This dropper design is from Quantum Apple on YouTube, and of course I have another link in the description. The sorting system itself is a very basic, very old, but very reliable design based on Impulse SV's sorter from 10 years ago. Now before you ask, yes, I've looked at the new Copper Golem systems that seem to be the new favorite among Minecraft YouTubers. After playing with a few iterations myself, I determined that they're much slower than this design and extremely complicated to use as a mega storage system. However, Copper Golems are an awesome option for early game item sorting. Even when you start looking at minecart or shulker box based sorting systems, the complexity gets out of control when scaled up to mega storage. If simplicity is wrong, I just don't want to be right. For this project, we're going to stick with Impulse design. Don't forget, link in the description. These item filters require 41 of every 64 stackable item and 10 of every 16 stackable item. The filter hoppers are pre-filled in the world download, so you don't have to spend hours and hours adding over 1,000 filters to the system. If you want to add or modify a filter, the 4 slots on the right of the hopper need a single named item in each slot for everything to work correctly. In this case, I've named a bunch of sticks item filter. The item you want to sort then goes into the leftmost slot of the hopper. As I mentioned earlier, Monster Storage can sort up to 1,584 items. Since there aren't 1,584 sortable items in the game, every unused silo has a placeholder item that I've named Item Placeholder. Whenever you want to add a new item to the sorter, you can remove the placeholder and add 41 or 10 of any item depending on its stack size. Once an item is in the sorting system, it snakes its way through every hallway until it finds the correct hopper filter and drops into the chest below. If any item silo is completely full, nothing breaks thanks to the overflow protection of Impulse design. Full items will make their way to the end of the sorting system and hit the loopback protection line. Loopback protection ensures that items will continuously loop in the system instead of despawning. If this happens, you can flip a lever to send overflow items down to the bulk storage for each silo. If the bulk storage is full, you may need to rethink how much you actually need to store for that particular item. Next, we're going to talk about the silo design. Each item in the system has a 25 double chest silo with 4 double chests on the main floor and 21 bulk storage double chests underneath. At the bottom of every silo, there are 2 levers. The first unlocks the bulk storage drain so you can send items to the crafting level or route them to somewhere cool like a village or trading hall. The other lever unlocks the dropper lines, which can send items to the lava trash pit or to the shulker box filling station. By default, items are sent to the shulker box filling station, but you can flip a lever at the station to use the lava instead. As I mentioned previously, I have another video coming out soon that discusses the crafting level in much more detail. If you'd like to see that, please hit the subscribe button. That's it for the Monster Storage tour. Next, we need to talk about performance. Most systems of this size are terribly laggy. Unfortunately, the number of chests and hoppers required for the system is massive. Until recently, I couldn't recommend building a storage system this large at all. But with the advancements in modded Minecraft performance, I've been able to take this system from an average of 15 FPS to 50. Without performance mods, your FPS may suffer, but I have a solution for that too. Just give me a couple more minutes to explain everything. The main issue with mega storage performance is how Minecraft renders chests and hoppers. Without a mod like entity culling, Minecraft renders every chest within your render distance, even if you can't see it. The entity culling mod fixes this by only rendering the chests you can see. So in the latest iteration of Monster Storage, I wrapped every hallway in stone and put redstone doors in place to hide the chests from the renderer. This made a massive improvement in performance. From what I can tell, the same cannot be said for hoppers. Hoppers will always lower your performance when used in large quantities. I even discussed the hopper issue with the developer of Entity Culling, TR7ZW. Apparently, hoppers are part of the world mesh, so culling hoppers wouldn't provide a boost in performance at all. If anyone out there has come across vanilla-friendly ways to improve hopper performance, please let me know in the comments. Besides entity culling, I highly recommend the mod Concurrent Chunk Management Engine. This mod does multi-core chunk loading instead of relying on a single CPU core. Another mod, called Async, does a similar thing but for entities. It uses multiple CPU cores and threads to improve the performance of Minecraft entities in your world. These 3 mods have made massive storage systems like Monster Storage viable, stable, and even performant for the first time in Minecraft's history. In fact, thanks to the inclusion of the newest mod, Async, our overly complicated server is running at a proper 20 ticks per second for the first time in literal years. Of course, mods require a mod loader. Personally, I'm using Modrinth to manage my Minecraft instances, and Fabric as my mod loader. However, most of the performance mods I use are available for Neoforge and Quilt, among others. I can't speak to other mod loaders at this time since I've had no need to deviate from Fabric. If you're interested in learning more about the rest of the performance mods I use, the World Download will have a Modrinth mod pack for you to try. At this point, I have to talk about your actual computer performance. Whether you're running a single-player world on your PC or hosting a multiplayer world for your friends, a storage system this large needs a decent bit of power in order to function properly, even with the performance mods. If you're using one of the many low-performance Minecraft server hosts out there, this may not be the system for you. Nothing's stopping you from trying, though. Ultimately, the more complexity you add to a Minecraft instance, the more performance you need in order to offset the demands. especially if you're chunk loading item transportation lines, automatic farms, your villager trading hall, etc. In order for everything to work properly, your computer or host needs to be able to handle the force loading of the monster storage building. Unless you're running a potato, which, let's be honest, some of the low performance Minecraft hosts are, you shouldn't have any problems. If you're on a server, I'd also recommend setting pause when empty seconds to -1 so the system can sort even when there are no players online. You can find that setting in the server properties file. The last thing we need to talk about before we get to the world download is one final performance suggestion. If your computer struggles with the rendering of the monster storage system, or you just want a higher FPS in Minecraft, you may want to look into Lossless Scaling on Steam. No, this isn't an ad, I just find it helpful. Lossless Scaling is a third-party tool that can improve your FPS in a similar way to DLSS and even generate additional AI frames without adding overhead to your computer. I've actually used this for Minecraft a lot. I play the game in 4K at 144 FPS with complementary shaders enabled. That takes some serious ugga-duggas. If I know I'm going to be spending a lot of time in the monster storage building, I'll turn on Lossless Scaling frame generation. It can take my 50 FPS and turn it into 144. Yes, I could just turn off my shaders, but where's the fun in that? Okay, the time has finally come. Let's talk about the world download. First, I'll spawn into the vanilla Minecraft single-player world without any mods so you can see what that's like. I've included a command block here with a button that will teleport you to the monster storage building. The area in and around the building has been spawn-proofed with torches and other light blocks. The same goes for the 2 villages on either side of the building, so the villagers don't die while you explore. This world is otherwise untouched, so you can play it directly from the download. As you can see, flying through the monster storage building isn't a great experience in vanilla Minecraft, but it's certainly still playable. Now let's spawn into the world with Fabric and the performance mods. You'll notice that the FPS is significantly higher, even when running shaders at 4K. If you're planning to import monster storage into your existing world, I've personally had success with WorldEdit schematics. WorldEdit allows you to copy and paste a structure, including the entities within. This keeps the item frames and hopper filters intact when pasting it into your world. If you're already familiar with WorldEdit, great. If not, I'd recommend watching a few YouTube tutorials and reading the documentation before trying to paste monster storage into your world. If you need some help, join my Discord. Hopefully we can help you in there. Trying to facilitate WorldEdit help in the YouTube comments is just not something I'm looking to do. Now, before you paste anything, you also need to install the carpet mod to ensure redstone remains intact during the paste. When pasting redstone with WorldEdit, you need to temporarily disable fill updates. If you don't, everything will break. Once you've verified that everything's working, make sure you turn fill updates back on. I'll include as much information as I can in the world download page, so check there for more info. You also need to force load the building's chunks if you're adding monster storage to an existing world. If you're just planning to play the world download, the chunks are already force loaded. Finally, let's talk about Bedrock. Getting monster storage running on Bedrock would take some serious effort. I've loaded up the world download in Bedrock after converting it with Chunker. The first thing I noticed was a very big difference in the mechanics of water transportation lines. Monster storage uses a lot of water and would require a complete repipe to get it working. Honestly, that was going to take too much time for this project. However, if you'd like to see monster storage running on Bedrock, help me get to 1,000 subscribers. I will redo the build for Bedrock as best I can if you help me reach that goal. If you end up using monster storage in your world or playing the world download, I'd love to see what you do with it. Hit me up on Discord or Instagram. I would also ask that you don't repackage monster storage into other projects without permission. This took a lot of effort, and I'd appreciate it if you get it directly from me. If I make adjustments to the world download in the future, my website is the only place you'll get those updates. If you download Monster Storage, let me know in the comments. If you have any trouble with the build, make sure you hit me up on Discord. Good luck and have fun!